All right, we're back with the 6th video, I think it is, for level editor tutorial stuff. Today we're going to go over the entity tab. We're going to make a zoo level. In industry terms, a zoo level is basically just a simple level that is used for showing off different types of things. Start with player start. Okay, we're a type special. So the type is showing you what you're going to be placing when you push these two buttons. It is unrelated to all this stuff down here. That's very important. This is the type that you will place. Actually place it. Type here is what is selected. This is the entity that's selected, not marked. Marking doesn't change that at all. Okay, so this is a type of player start, and you've got all these values here, which you can totally ignore for this. MPT, it's not actually used right now, except in multiplayer levels, and I'm not even sure if we use it because we never tested it. Right, and then we have all these different ways of moving an entity and placing an entity and stuff like that. So let's start with that. So to do this one, I did place at segment center, but I could also do place on segment side. And that places the center exactly at the middle of the segment side. And now, pivot is set to marked right now. I think that's the default, but it might be local. If it is local, when I move stuff around, it might be weird. I'm pushing 8 and 2 right now, and I expect it to move forward and back this way, but it's actually moving up and down. That's because local moves relative to the object's orientation, and 8 and 2 go up and down by default in local mode. Let's go back to marked mode. Marked mode. Move forward and back. There we go. Let's reduce the group size a little so we're not jumping around too much. Generally, most objects should not be placed like this, but there are some types, especially some props, that should be placed on the side directly. But you can also use this for lining stuff up. Like if you want it to be just off this wall, you place it on the wall and then move it up. We only need one player start because we're going to do a single player level here. It's going to show off a bunch of the different item types. Let's say I'm placing the player start here. It places facing down by default because I had that side selected. When I place an entity, it faces the direction of the face that of the side that I have selected. Let's delete this. That's a very important thing to do. There's ways to modify this. Let's say I place it there. That's not where I want it, but I could. It's still selected and marked. The marked thing down here. This stuff up here operates only on the selected object. I could reset rotation. That makes it face the z-axis positive by default. Show that. Oh. I could also make it face a selected side if I want to look at over there. Face selected side. I can enter and position coordinates, which is probably not that useful since you don't know the coordinates of the current object right now, but we can update that eventually. Let's say I know 000 is over here where the player start is. So we're going to put 002. Close enough. Okay. There we go. Actually, there's this 0. And we can just, the grid spacing is 2, so we know every little hash mark is 2 meters. That's how it ended up there. All right, I can also mark entities of the same type. I can also mark entities of the same subtype, which is useful for like robots or items or other things like that. Right now it's not useful because I only have player starts. All right, let's look at the other special types because there are 2 others, or special subtypes. Okay, there's type special. Now if I want to change this to be a player or a robot spawn point, I do it right there. Drop down. So this operates differently than this. That's why it's yellow. So you know this is different. This is what you're placing, and this is what you're actually editing. And again, this is all on the selected entity. This doesn't get affected by the marking. So the It doesn't change the shape of this too much, except in this special case, the player start is flatter than everything else. But otherwise, the only difference you can tell by looking at an entity is by actually selecting it. And there are certain types like robots and items that will display their name if you have them selected. All right, so we're going to say we want to rotate this. We're going to mark it, hold down Control, and use the numpad 6. Rotates it 45-degree increments. Use Control Alt, smaller increments. You guys may have seen this stuff in the lighting video, but I wanted to show it again here. All right, moving stuff around, mark it, numpad stuff. You can also use plus and minus to move in and out. When you are in local mode, in and out is along the z-axis, no matter how your camera is facing. This is pretty useful when you have kind of odd shaped levels and I'm going to place something on the side. Let's say I place it on that side, and then I want to move it away from the wall. I can just push minus minus twice. And when the pivot is local, that'll move it 2 meters away when the grid snap is set to 1. All right, so you'll notice when I placed it, it placed another robot spawn point. If you have something selected and you place a new object of the same type, it will copy the subtype from the previously selected object. That's pretty useful, like if you're placing robots and you want to place the same robot over and over, or if you're placing a bunch of robot spawn points. Robot spawn points are used for challenge mode only. This is not going to be a challenge mode level, so we're going to delete those. What this level will have is not a player start, a mat send. So mat sends are one of those things that you actually want to place on the wall, and this will be replaced by a thing that's sort of circular with a triangular shape, and then it generates robots. So the generation of those robots, you can make the robots variants or super robots. We're not going to do that right now. That applies to both robot types listed here. This is the max number of alive robots at a time. We'll just do 2. The spawn rate, these are the values. Those translate to seconds, which also get modified by the difficulty level. We'll leave it at medium. So the spawn types, there's spawn 1 and spawn 2. These probabilities, I think, have to add up to 1. I'm not sure. They might not have to. But either way, if we have, no, they don't have to add up to 1. But if they're equal, then they'll be random between the two. We'll do that. We'll do grunt A and recoil A. If you're wondering what these robot types are, we're going to be publishing a reference guide that shows you recoil A is actually Gorgon, and grunt A is Goblin. Okay, and invulnerable means it'll have a shield on it by default. That means it can't be destroyed. We will do that, and then we're going to do something so that we can destroy the shield. Let's go ahead and add something to destroy the shield. So we're going to add an object segment there. Let's place a switch at the bottom of this. And a switch is a prop. Place on segment side. Now here we can see how it's oriented. Normally when we have a switch, we want to make sure it's oriented so that the connection points towards the thing that it's going to be deactivating. And I know that the switch one time, which is what we're going to be using, it has the connectors on the bottom. So we want to rotate this. Control. There we go. Control plus. It's rotating the way we want. I want this little helper thing to point this way because the bottom of it will be over here then. That's our switch. Now you don't do anything with the switch itself. You gotta place another object. Type script. Segment center. These do not matter where they are, but I tend to place them near the thing that they're operating on. And the important thing about scripts are the things down here. These are the links. This is the door unlock script. We don't want that. We want a on destroy. So when this is destroyed, but how do we just need to mark this and then select script, destroy script, and assign this to the first slot. The on destroy script and the on pickup script are important, or different I should say, because they use the first link as the object that they're looking at to see if it's destroyed or picked up. And on pickup, I actually wouldn't use very much because in New Game Plus, which I don't think we have support for, but for us, we had a lot of bugs where things that were picked up get switched out in New Game Plus, and they wouldn't work, so we just switched to using triggers for a lot of things that get picked up instead. All right, anyway, so we're doing on destroy. On destroy, this does something, but it's not doing anything yet. We need to add another script. Let's place another script. Another on destroy script, we want it to disable shield. All right, so we've got disable shield. We're going to activate it when you destroy this switch. But important part we need to set. We need to tell it what to disable. It needs to disable that. We mark it. Come over here. When you mouse over this, it'll tell you what the different functions are. Left mouse button is assign the first marked entity and unmark it. It did that. So now it'll disable the shield when I destroy this, and we want it to show a message. So let's turn that to true. If we don't have that, then it'll do that without telling us that it did it in the HUD. All right, I think we've got enough objects here that we can actually export it to game and see that this does work. And then we're going to add a bunch more object types, show a bunch of what they are, and then we'll export again. But I just wanted to show a simple script first so you guys can have a good stopping point and export it and see that this does actually function. All right, let's double check. This does have invulnerable set, so it will be shielded. And it will generate goblins and goblins and gorgons. And it'll only generate 2 of them at most. And let's actually just change it to a variant anyway. I just want to make sure that it actually works. So those will be the variants of those robots. Right, we're going to say another tutorial test. Now we're going to generate a single player mission file. We'll go over those mission files in another tutorial video. But that should be enough. You can confirm down here that it did create the mission file. Make sure it does that. If you haven't saved the level, it should not do that. It will give you an error message. And then we just do export, save it where it says. Should take literally no time. And we're going to start the game. All right, we're in game. We've exported a single player mission. There it is, another tutorial test. We're going to go in. Play trainee. Look, it's lights, there's textures, there's a switch pointing at the object that it affects. You may have noticed there's something weird going on. It's not generating robots. That's because we never told it to. We'll do that the next time. But we can see that it's shielded as we said it should be. We're going to destroy that switch. Shield's disabled, see that at the top of the screen? Shield's disabled. And now we can blow it up. Done. Okay, so the scripting did exactly what we told it to. It did not generate a robot because we never told it to. We need to actually trigger that to happen. There's another script that does that. So we're going to keep this game open and see if exporting while the game is running actually works. I don't know that it will, but we're going to try it just to see. All right, so let's place the script on the side. This script needs to activate the MadSen. Where is activate MadSen? There it is, third one down. And we need to select the MadSen, select the script, connect it. So this will activate the MadSen when it gets triggered, but we need to do something to trigger it. Let's place a trigger middle of the level. 4x4. Same thing. We need to mark the script, select the trigger, come down to link, assign it. Now when I touch this trigger, which by default is always a one-time trigger, does not get triggered by weapons, only by the player ship. And when I touch this trigger, take the MadSen. See if that works. All right, we're in game. We're gonna push restart level. Will it work? I have no idea. It does! Hooray! Now we're going to prove that it only generates 2 robots at once. There's one. There's 2. How many more will it generate? It should be 0. The scripting for generating or turning off this shield still works. Still only 2 robots. We'll blow both of them up and it should generate more. There it is. Okay, we're going to blow that up. All right, we scripted successfully. Let's go back and edit a bunch of more stuff that will show you how everything works. All right, so let's just do a whole bunch of different prop types, because those are the ones that you're going to be like, I don't know what this is. I'm going to tell you what they are. We'll put some enemies in there too eventually, but we're going to start with props. We need more geometry to work with, so we're going to just add more right there. One more layer so we can expand out nicely. Space. Okay. Alright, so let's just start at the top of props. Let's place one on the wall. Script. There we go. Now we got a prop. A mine, it does nothing, don't use it. A container, it does nothing, don't use it. A power core, that does something, let's use it. So the power core does not go on a wall. It is actually like a mini reactor. Let's go with marked mode because that's easier for my brain to comprehend. A power core is essentially just a really tough switch. It just takes longer to destroy and it has a small delay before it blows up. So we can place a power core there. We'll script something with it another time. Let's move on to the next prop type that we want to show off. Power core. There's a reactor. We want more space for a reactor, so let's put it here. Segment. So the OM reactor is only 8 meters tall, so we're going to delete a segment there. Alright, there's also a Titan reactor, which is 12 meters tall and I think wider than 4, so you'd want more space than this. You want a little bit more space. And the Titan reactor can be invulnerable and it'll show a shield. The Outer Moon's reactor does not show a shield if it's invulnerable. If you've ever tried to damage the reactor in level 1, you'll notice it cannot be destroyed. That's because it is marked invulnerable and there's no way to mark it invulnerable. Okay, but we're going to do regular reactor. Let's put some more stuff in here. Time switch. Nothing. I don't think it is. Time switch is not a thing. Toggle switch is not a thing. Switch one time, that's a thing. Force field. Okay. That'll be. The force fields should go in the middle of a segment because when a force field is in a segment, it marks it as no pathfinding until it's destroyed so that robots will understand it. Or deactivated, disable, whatever you want to call it. So let's move it. So that'll create a force field. Force fields are always 4x4 by default. If you set them to invulnerable, I think it is, they'll go up to 4x6. 6 is the wide part. All right, there's another force field type called alien force field, which is 8x8 by default, I think, or maybe it's 6x6. I can't remember right now, but it's easy to figure out just by placing them and setting the invulnerable flag and seeing what size they are. Those cannot be scaled or modified outside of this flag. Let's put some more objects in here. Force field alien. Might as well put another one in there. Segment. That's going to go nowhere. That's fine. All right, we have cryo tubes. Cryo tubes are meant to go in cryo chambers. You'll probably want to just copy and paste a cryo chamber from another level, so we should make the cryo chamber available as a small thing that you can use because they expect to be at a certain angle. We're just going to put that one on the wall because they sort of expect to be on a wall, and we'll show you what they look like. There's also a cryotube empty. And that has no cryotube in it, but it has the base of the cryotube. And we have, let's see what else we got here. EM lights, that's a good one to have. So those are for reactor areas. When the reactor is blown up, this starts flashing red. Or if you have a lockdown room and you put these in the lockdown room, they will start flashing during the lockdown. We'll just place one right there. More objects, more props. Let's see. Kinetic field, that doesn't do anything. Teleporter. Does that do something? No, it doesn't. We use teleporters a different way. Energy center, great. Energy center, energy. Okay, let's make an energy center. We're going to do actual texturing and placement, but we're going to make it a nice simple energy center. Okay, we're going to do this the fast way, which means you guys get to watch it in fast forward and I have to do it in real time. Okay, we're back and we are making an energy center. So this is a small energy center. I've already done all the decals and stuff. I'm assuming the reflection probes will handle most of this, but we're gonna place a light in there as well, just to generate some light, just in case the probes don't generate as much as I think they will. So we're at segment center, nice lights, it's fine. We don't want it to cast shadows. CO3 is fine, and we want it to be yellow. Yellow is about 0.166 for the hue, and it's saturated, really saturated, 0.96. Sure, that's fine. Alright, so that is an energy center. I think 0.16 is too much. Let's go 0.15. It's a little bit more orangey than yellowy. Right, that's good. I'm going to move that down just so it doesn't get in the way. So now we need to place a trigger in this energy center to actually give you energy. Place at segment center. This is a trigger. We want it to fit this box. We want it to fit where it is because the amount of particles and stuff that are in there will be determined by the size of the box. Let's go 12. X, we'll do 5. Y. Notice it doesn't update in real time until you actually click over to do something to refresh it, and 6. That's pretty close. We want it to be 8 actually. Gotta move down a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's the energy center thing. We gotta actually set it to be an energy center. And then that's all we need to do to actually make an energy center. But we're gonna do all the other little things. This is why we came here in the first place, is the props. We're gonna place on segment side. Energy center entrance. That's what I got to do for that. That'll make it the nice glowy yellow thing that you pass through. And then right here, we want to put a grate. EC. That generates some extra particles from those. Alright, so that is an energy center. Let's save this, bring it a game, and we're going to test out everything that we've put in here so far. We're going to blow up this reactor and see that the flashing light will turn on. So let's go. I'm going to move this over. I don't accidentally generate or activate the mat sen unless I really want to. I think everything's in there that I need to have. Yes. Not going to do anything to deactivate these force fields. That's a pretty simple script that we'll look at in a second. Or eventually, maybe. Alright, we saved it. We need to export it, and we're going to load it in game without having to restart the game, which is pretty nice. There we go. Wow, that is really yellow. Okay, that's too much yellow. We want it to be a little more orange than that. But this is the energy center. Which, when I go in there, energy. Alright, so I'd say our saturation value should actually be more like 0.1, and we probably want less brightness, because this is weird looking. Alright, there is our reactor. There's an alien force field. I'm sorry if you didn't know there are aliens in the game. It's too late now. There's aliens. That force field is 8 by 8 by default. Let's just check it out all the way to be sure. Oops. Stroll. By 8. This is 4 by 4. Right. Stroll. Alright, there. You can die. That's our fancy switch called a power core. There's an empty cryotube thing. That is a not empty cryotube thing. I don't think you can replace those images right now. Eventually, maybe we'll be able to. Oh, it does play the effect. That's interesting. But the game is still working. That's good. Alright, there's a reactor. I hit the reactor so it shows the reactor bar. I'm going to kill the reactor, and then that light's going to turn on, and then it's going to open the exit, which does not exist. Hey, look there, there's the light. And we're going to die, making all the lights flicker. There's nowhere to exit. Oh, it blew up the Matson 2 for us. That was nice. Alright. Force fields do not go down when you blow up the reactor, but that's fine. Alright, so let's get out of here. We're going to change that color of that light a little. And keep going with other entity props. That is too bright. It is too yellow. Let's make it more orange. Even more. Let's see. Ah, that's good enough. Let's make it. Let's go over. All right. So let's keep going with these entity types. Since we've shown some of these already, I may delete some old ones. Place on there, that's a mine. Mines don't do anything. Monitors, all right. Monitors are great. You can use, I'm going to place 4 of the same type of monitor. Actually, we can go all the way up to 6. Move to side. There are 6 different images for these monitors. You just use the index to select those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's show something useful. Show text robots marked entities. There we go. So if you do mark entities, it'll actually show also the selected entity. I can mark all the entities, and it'll show the names for everything. And I can see that I clicked too fast on this one. So let's change that to 8. There we go. Now that's correct. This is a good way to check some of your entities and just see what they are. And it'll also show the special index, which is pretty applicable for the monitors and a few other types, but most things doesn't really matter. All right, so let's see. Those are monitors. Those will be 6 different monitor images, I should say. Let's keep going. I'm not going to show. These are all just different monitor types. It doesn't really matter. We want to show fans, so let's kill that. Let's make something to put a fan on. There. Okay, we're going to do a little recess here. Then we're going to put a fan there. if we are placing robots in this level, we should also place a decal, one of the full decals, so that the robots know they cannot go through that. Type 1. Oops. I'll just move that one over there. All right, so with fans, the index actually does matter because it controls the speed of the fan. 0 is off, 1 is really slow, 2 is the default, I think. So we're gonna have those two there. What else do we want to put in here? Fans, corner fans. Can't remember. Yeah, you don't want to use those, they don't work. The really large fans are TN1, or TN2 and OM2. Those are the giant fans. So I want to place one of those too because they're a little bit different. Let's go. Here we go. Place one here. All right, that'll be a giant fan. It's not the size I wanted, so we're going to tweak this. So these giant fans, they require a 4x4 side, and that'll be 4x4 now. And we're going to just reset Q. All right. Lining those up doesn't matter for our purposes here. Okay, let's see what else we got. We have reactor turrets. Sure, let's place one right there. Those are those little guys stuck to a wall that just shoot at you until the reactor dies, and they cannot be destroyed. Alright, they cannot be disabled through any other means. We've also got alien stuff. Okay. We'll create a new area of the level to show the alien stuff. It's kind of funky. Okay, where do we want to go? We want to go down. Say goodbye to this reactor. Alright, so let's get some alien stuff going on here. So first we're going to make the warp portal. This is the thing that you come in and out of. It requires some setup in order to actually be able to go through it. By default, it just shows the purple effects, which are more subtle. And then to activate it, you need to use some other stuff to set it off. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, what do we need to activate those? We need alien power. And let's do 2 of them so we can show how they work in conjunction with each other. We'll put in. Oh man, it's been a little while since I've done this socket. No. You need to do some scripts. Right. That's what I'm looking for. Not another problem. Activate alien warp. There we go. Okay. I'm actually going to have to look up how we use these things because I haven't used them in so long. But I'm going to do that, and then we'll keep going and show how to use the alien warp script to activate the portal. Save that, and I'm going to look at source code for just a minute. Oh yeah, look at all that stuff. Okay, here we go. On destroy, we're triggering something. What is that something? It's count. Okay, so that's just even simpler than I realized. Okay, easy. Let's go back here. What we need to do is we need to link an on destroy to these, and then count up to 2, and when we reach 2, then we're going to activate this warp. Let's place another script at the center. This will be our on count. When we get 2 activations onto this, it'll activate whatever it's linked to. So we're going to link to that. Yeah, when that hits 2, it'll activate. So we're going to place a script here. On destroy. May seem a little weird, place on destroy on something that's not destroyed, but basically functions the same way. When that's destroyed. Okay, notice that I selected this first and then that. Actually, that doesn't really matter, but the order of the objects does matter. I place these first and then that. So when I click on this, the prop is first. That's what I want for on destroy. And then the second thing is second. We're going to do the same thing. Another on destroy script on this side. Okay, so we've got it on destroy, on count, on destroy, link to activate alien warp to this. In theory, if I haven't messed anything up, when I activate these 2, I will be able to go through the warp and end a level. Let's place an item there so I can actually pick up the Lancer and activate those. Lancer? Where are you at? There it is. Okay. Alright, I think we got enough. Let's get into the game and see if everything is working as we expect. Alright. Ooh, look at that thing firing at me. I cannot destroy it. Not be destroyed. There's a fan. There's another fan. Notice both of these have a special index set to 0, but the other one does not. It has it set to 2, so it should be spinning, and it is. And you're wondering why everything's purple. There's only one reflection probe in this entire level, and it's getting purple. Oh no! I have to kill that. Alright, that's fine. And it got purple from some of the objects in the world. Now right now, all the power-ups and other stuff that are placed in the level will affect reflection probes. Hopefully we'll be able to add support to prevent these power-ups from turning them on. But that's why everything is purple, because there's only one reflection probe in here. If we broke it up into more parts, then it would be nicer and not purple everywhere. That guy is not going to stop firing. See, this looks nicer. If this had a reflection probe only in this area, it would look nicer. So we probably want to place a splitter right there. Shoot all those by default. Let's go down there, take a look. Alright, so we got those 2 things. It's just not active right now. Let's see what happens. There's one. There's the other. And that activated. Alright. Here, and the level should end. There we go. Level is ending. Awesome. Everything worked as planned, I think. Okay, back to the editor. Okay, let's show a couple more alien things. we're going to place a door side. It's going to be an alien door. Alien 2. I can't remember. I guess alien 2 is the tall one. It might be the other one. It doesn't matter. It's going to be locked. Then we need to activate it. This is not recommended to have your geometry overlapping like this, but it doesn't really matter. Let's place something. Go back. All right, go to an alien switch. Alien switch needs to be linked to the door. I believe there's a special script for that. Alien door link, all right. The question is, what goes first? The switch or the door? I think it's the door. Let's find out. That. So one has to be linked to the door, one has to be linked to the switch. Let's check in level 13 and see what they do there, because that is the right way of doing things. Will be one of those little spinny things. The more you shoot it, the faster it goes, and it'll keep the door open as long as it's spinning. And I can get trapped in here if I want to, or I can place another alien switch. Let's see, what else do we need? Alien warp, did. Alien stasis, that's just an object, but I'll show it anyway. This is alien stasis object, and that is for when you want to place a robot. Robots are pretty easy to figure out. A lot of this stuff I'll go over real quick, but we'll start at the bottom. Stasis. Stasis means it's going to be here, it's going to be stuck, it's not going to do anything, can't interact with it aside from maybe run into it, and it won't do anything. And that was used in level 13 for some robots that don't move. Let's use one of the robots that don't move, like Hulk. Yeah, this is one of the robots that doesn't move. So we're going to put it in stasis, and it's going to be stuck there. It won't move. And then this object is just for decoration. Let's check out any other objects. Alien socket. I don't know what that's for. Alien container. That's one we want to show. This is just an object that has random stuff in it in the alien levels. Random power-ups. Has like some missiles and some armor and maybe some energy. Those are just good for replenishing the player's arsenal without having to place an energy center or other stuff like that. A couple of enemies. Just like the enemy type here. You should be able to figure out most of these are. I think 2B is the only totally invalid one. You also don't want to place guidebot because that doesn't really work that way. Generated, but it's here for code purposes. Alright, let's place Hulk A. Yeah, it's a nice one. Won't get in my face too much. Place. The Hulk A, he has a variant, and he hidden. So hidden means the robot will not be there by default, and then you can use a lockdown or other scripting event to make him appear. When you make a robot appear after he's hidden, he will teleport the world. Let's do it here. New Game Plus means he'll only show up in New Game Plus. Variant means he'll use the alternate version of his attacks if he has one. There's only 7 robots that have a variant. We'll use the variant for this guy. It'll also have different textures on the Super is also kind of like a variant, but it's glowing red, has a red outline, it attacks a lot more aggressively, more hit points, it's just tougher in general. Headlight means his headlight will be on. Station means after he loses sight of me, he will go back to this location rather than trying to find me. So this is for like If you want to reduce the amount of robots that are wandering through your level, you should set them to station so that they're not wandering around so much. No default is for overriding power-ups. This should be set to false pretty much all the time. If you want to add power-ups, or you want to do custom power-ups, like we did this with log entries. That's the only time we ever use this thing here, is we set the log entry and then set no default. And then that robot would drop a log entry, but not a normal power-up. The AI override doesn't do anything as far as I know. But the important ones are stasis. Don't use that unless you really know that you want a robot that doesn't move and doesn't interact. Hidden, New Game Plus, Variant, Super, Headlight, and Station. Those are the important ones you really need to use for robots. And you can see after I update it, it says V. That means it's Variant. Now that's good when you want to make sure that you have the robots that you want in the level. All right, I think we got enough stuff. We've gone over enough things. We're going to do one more export, take a look at these, and then that'll be it for this tutorial video. I want to show you one more quick thing. Copy entity stats to clipboard. This is really useful. Let's get that up here. There it is, okay. This will print out the entities in your level and the count of them. This is useful when you want to just make sure that your giant level has everything in it that you want it to have. We use this for comparing different levels against each other to make sure that everything was pretty balanced and didn't have anything in there that we didn't actually want to be in there. Like if I knew I didn't want bulk B variant in there, I'd be like, oh, why is there a normal one and a variant? I just want one or the other usually. So again, that was random copy stats. You can also do that with textures. If you're trying to reduce your texture usage, that's pretty useful. You can find stuff that's barely used and figure out if you want to get rid of it completely. All right, let's say this one more time. Actually, we're gonna do some split planes to see if that helps with our ugliness issue. There. Our purple glow everywhere. Just doing these sort of quick and not caring too much about how I do them. Normally you'd want to spend a little bit more time worrying about how you're doing your splits. That should be good enough for this test. Yeah. Saving, re-exporting. That guy, he's a variant, as he should be. The other guy is hidden. Still shooting at me. All right, now this looks a bit nicer. No weird purple glow. I don't know where that light's coming from. Sort of odd. Okay. And then fields. All right, I was right. That is a 4x6 door. Here's a stasis robot. All right. Here's a container. Shoot that. Has power-ups in it. A random nature. All right. And this is a switch. When I shoot this, the door opens. When that stops moving, the door closes. The more you shoot it, the longer the door stays open. Again. There we go. Portal's open, I can leave the level. This is our weird purple glow is no longer there, and our alien stuff is kind of shiny. It could definitely use some lights in here, but we're not gonna worry about that too much. Not very useful. That's good to know. Right, I think that covers what we're gonna cover for entities. We'll cover scripting a little bit more in the sequencing video, which will be coming up another time. Everything else is good for now. I'll see you guys next time.